Let's go. So today I'm here with Jane Eggers. Is this the way you spell it? I hope so. I'll ask you in a minute to do it again to see if it comes out perfectly fine. And she's a freelance translator, and she has been a translator for quite a while. And we're going to know a little bit about her background and how she got to where she is today. So if you could just briefly introduce yourself and say your last name, please, Jane.
Yeah, hi Rita. I'm Jane Eggers, and was that good? That's how
you tell me.
And yeah, I'm, as you said, a freelance translator. Originally British. Well, I'm still British, but I live in Germany. I also have German citizenship now. That's why I'm saying that. But was born in Britain. Yeah, and I live near Heidelberg in South Germany. Yeah, what do you want to know?
So let's start at the very beginning, not the very beginning, but when you actually went to college and decided that you were going to study translation, was this planned or was it an accident?
It was kind of an accident. I never really knew what I wanted to do. And you know, people always ask you when you're a kid, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I was like, always, oh, I don't know. And my parents were pretty good. They just said, you know, do what you love and don't worry too much. You don't have to know when you're 10 what you're going to do when you're 21. So they were cool. So I just took the next step. You know, I was good at languages at school, so I kind of wanted to do that. And I really, really loved the French language. And I found German difficult. And it's partly to do
I wonder why.
Yeah, no idea. But I think a lot is just to do with the teaching that you have and the materials. You know, the somehow the materials we had for German back then were really kind of old-fashioned. They were from the 60s. You know, I was at school in the 80s, so even then that was quite old stuff. And yeah, I remember the girl in my German textbook, she got a fur hat for Christmas, for example. And we were all like, what? Who gets a fur hat? So that was the German, but in the French lessons, the teacher was kind of more modern, and she would go to France and bring magazines back for us. So like real material that we could use, and we just found that much more interesting. And I think that probably had a big role. It just made French seem a lot cooler, and it made it seem easier. So I really loved French. So then I thought, okay, what am I going to study? I'm definitely going to study French, and I'm going to leave German because it's just too hard. So I studied French. I went to Strasbourg for a year. In the middle of that, I did my year abroad in Strasbourg, and kind of thought, well, maybe at the end I'll go back to France or something. And then I fell in love with a German guy.
Oh, that's how it happened.
That's how it happened. So I'm like,
okay,
that
makes things easier, let's say.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. So then, of course, all I wanted to do was go to Germany. That was my huge career plan at the time, which wasn't too bad, having done German at school, as it happened. And so I came over for 1 year as an au pair, which was brilliant. I really learned a lot. I had a lovely family, and I was very lucky. And yeah, and I'm still here, basically.
I thought you had fallen in love, stayed there, went back, and then you were now there again, but like in recent years. That's what I thought. I stayed. But you've been there for a little bit of time.
Yeah, I came over in 1996. 1995 originally. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got stuck here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that you were still in the UK and scheduling meetings for wrong time zones and things, but you have been there for a long time.
I've been here forever. Yeah, I've been here for more than half my life now.
Okay, well, wow.
Yeah, it feels good though. It feels good. Yeah, so then I had to work my way up, because being in Germany with a degree in French doesn't really open many doors for you. It's particularly here in Germany, you need to have the right qualification for the thing that you want to do. So, you know, if you come with French, they say, well, what can you do with that? Are you a French teacher? I was like, no, but I'm a graduate, I have skills, you know. But they'd be like, yeah, but French. So in the end, I was able to get well, at the very beginning I worked as a temp in a company, and they sent me to different places, and then I got a longer stint at one particular company, and then I was able to work at the university, like as you mentioned, that was in Göttingen, further up in the middle of Germany. And I was like a bilingual secretary there for a
Oh, wow.
university department. So then my actual skills came into play.
So, but you were bilingual as in French and English, or you were bilingual French
German
and
and
German?
English.
Oh,
German,
German
English.
and English. So
I
no
had enough
French.
German by then to manage.
Right.
I already knew how to type, and they taught me to use the they had this dictation thing that you had to do with pedals. You had to listen to the to what he dictated on tape, and then kind of you could go back and forth so I could type it up.
Right.
I don't know what you call that, you know,
No
dictation pedal thing. Yeah, so that was, you know, it was fine. I think the main thing was the guy I worked for wanted to have somebody who was a native English speaker who could check his speeches and presentations, because he was doing international work, and it was really useful to him to have somebody like me who could polish his text. So that worked out really well for both of us, actually. And
so you were happy.
I was happy. Yeah, it was nice. It was very nice. And during that time I did some distance learning and got first of all a German qualification, and then a translation qualification for German to English as well. So I actually got my bits of paper as I was going along. So
because you knew that they were going to ask for them.
Yeah, they were. Otherwise, I wasn't going to get any further.
So when did you end up at SAP? Because I saw it in your profile.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
there.
I started at SAP at the end of 1999. So yeah, we weren't married then, but my now husband and he was finishing his studies, and we both started looking for jobs. And as it happened, SAP was the one place in the whole of Germany that was looking for IT people and translators at the same time.
You worked as a translator.
Yes, I was an in-house translator.
Oh, wow.
For SAP.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah. So we both moved down there. That's here near Heidelberg. We're still in that area. That was amazing. I learned a lot. I mean, I'm very lucky to have had an in-house position, because not all translators have that. There aren't that many.
I guess most of the translators that I know, especially until now, because I feel now there's a little bit of a change, but we'll think about that a bit later. But yeah. I guess there's a little bit of a change, but it used to be that the only option would be for you to be an in-house at a translation company, right? And in your case, it was a totally different experience.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it was a big software company. And I think when I started, it's not the same now, but when I started, I think there were about 100 of us native speaker translators, so Brits and Americans.
Really? For this company?
Yeah.
Wow. So they didn't send their materials away to translation companies, or they did that too, and you guys received it and did some sort of QA, QC, that kind of thing?
When I was working there, or when I first started there at least, all the German to English translation and the English to German was in-house. And they used agencies for the other languages. So there's some languages that were translated out of German, and some where they took English as the source language. So they used our translations and then translated out of that. But that was all agency based. And I think things are changing. And I'm not quite sure what the status is now. But yeah, there were a lot of us in-house. So that felt really nice to have lots of colleagues around to learn from.
Wow, that's insane. Then you didn't think of, since you were already an in-house translator, didn't you think about going to translation company to be an in-house or work at some other roles, project management? That never crossed your mind?
No, not really. I don't know. I really I mean, I enjoyed my job while I was there. And at some point I just felt I needed to do something different. But I really liked the idea of working for myself and running my own business. The funny thing was, when I first went to SAP, like I said, my husband and I were both looking for jobs at the same time. And I always thought, well, if he gets the job first, I'll be able to freelance if necessary. It would have been easier for me as a linguist than for him, probably. And so when I then got the in-house job, a part of me thought, it's a shame I can't freelance now. And although I was really happy to get the job, and it was a good move looking back, because I learned so much. But there was a part of me that thought, that's a little bit disappointing that I don't get to try that out. So all those years later, I was able to sort of indulge that. And
then one day you were like, I love my job. This is perfect. This is great. However, I really, really want to do something on my own.
Yeah,
How did that come about?
Yeah, it went back and forth for a bit. I mean, for a start, they were beginning to develop more and more of the software in English to start with. So they needed less work from us. So the work for me was more correcting other people's English rather than translating things. So there was less and less actual translation to do,
right?
Which is a little bit frustrating if that's all you're doing. And just in general, you're as a translator in that situation, you're a very, very small cog in a huge machine. I mean, there were a lot of excellent things about it, but I found that difficult to be a really tiny part. And it's hard to point to something and say, I did that and be proud of it, because it's just such a tiny thing.
And it's like a joint venture of many people.
Yeah, you don't have much say in anything.
So then the adventure starts. You just leave.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Is it immediate that you start your own company? Did you start as a freelancer and then had a proper company? You never had a company and you're still independent? How is it?
Yeah, I'm still a freelancer. I mean, it is a company as such, but it's a freelance company. I mean, it's not, I don't know where you draw the boundaries, really. I mean, yeah, I have my company name.
What I mean is, when you talk about your business, is it a company that is called your name, but you're just a part of it, or are you 100% the person who deals with everything?
I'm 100% the person that deals with everyone, and I really like that. I mean, it's like being a crafts person. I can't say it. Crafts person,
right?
I feel like I'm pursuing my craft, and it's hard to kind of outsource that to people. So
even the admin and all of that stuff, so you do it all.
Yeah, at the moment, I mean, I have somebody to do my website.
Well, I have that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other thing. So there's individual things like that I have done. I have somebody to do my website updates on a monthly basis. So I do that, and I have my tax guy, like a lot of people do. But mainly I do it myself, and I kind of enjoy that as well, just having tabs on it, and it's exciting to do the accounting stuff and see
when it's for yourself.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I enjoy it too. People say, oh yeah, the admin is killing me, blah blah blah. But I love those invoices. If I'm taking care of invoices, it's because I have some.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I kind of enjoy that, and I have my my accounting program, so I can see like the graph of the year, how it's going up and down, and it's just
you're already a pro.
Yeah. Well, I think it was important to me, even at the beginning, to set it up as a proper company, even if I was very, very small and not earning very much at the time. So I had my accounting program. I set myself up so I would be paying VAT, although I didn't have to at the beginning, things like that, just to make it kind of firm and solid and to take it seriously. I had a separate bank account from the beginning for my business and all that kind of thing.
Totally makes sense. So what was the first step that you took out of being an in-house worker and then becoming independent? What happens? It's like one day you step out of the house and you're no longer going to the company. So what happens?
Well, the first thing was that I signed up with a bunch of agencies, translation agencies, and that's worked out well. Coming from an IT background, that was in demand at that time. That wasn't too bad, so that got me going. Also, I think like a week after I started, just randomly, a friend of mine was in touch, and she said, oh, hi, what are you up to? And I said, oh, I've just gone freelance as a translator. And she said, oh, that's amazing. I'm writing a book and I need a translation of the first part.
All right.
So I'm like, yes. She only wanted it was like a couple of chapters that she was submitting to publishing houses, but that was a lovely thing to work on for me, and it was quite a big assignment right at the beginning, so there was that, which was luck. But the translation agencies, they worked pretty well for a while. And
for a while
that's going into the next chapter. In parallel with that, I was building up my Facebook page and doing lots of sort of outreach in business groups and stuff on there, and getting a lot of work as well. So I was doing my marketing and then getting people coming in from that side, and I realized that to put it crassly, that you can earn more money with direct clients than you can from agencies.
Yes.
Which is not it's not a surprise to anybody, but and I just and it was more fun, and they were often more flexible.
And
I
you
just
had more control over the whole
you
process.
have more control, and I really liked that kind of working as partners. And you can talk to the person who's written the text in a lot of cases and say, what did you mean by this? And, you know, how can we put this better? So I really liked that sort of one-to-one thing, which you don't get so much with an agency.
Right.
So at some point since I was doing all my marketing anyway, it didn't really make sense to be working for the agencies because I didn't get so much benefit from them. Because the benefit of an agency is that they're doing the marketing, right? So then you can take a bit less money. But if you're already doing the marketing, it just felt wrong. And it also felt wrong having to potentially turn down direct clients because I had agency work. So I was turning down the stuff that I might have found more fun.
Yeah.
So gradually I just did less and less of the agency stuff. Now I don't work with agencies anymore.
Oh, you don't? So did you work with big agencies, or you would prefer what they call boutique agencies?
Oh, no, they were sort of mediums.
You didn't care.
I didn't really care at the time. I mean, I found them up before I signed up for them. I think this is really important, actually. A lot of the agencies, before I went through and jumped through all the hoops on the websites, I always phoned them up and said, look, this is my kind of price. Are we in the same ballpark? And is it worth me applying? And they were really open. Sometimes they would just say, well, I think you're just going to be too expensive for us. And sometimes they would say, yeah, we can do that, you know, apply. So that was really good. I can't remember what my thread was now, but yeah.
So I was just asking you about the size of the companies.
The sizes of them, yeah. So no, it wasn't based on the size. It was based on that reaction on the phone. And if I, you know, if I got a good response and it felt nice, I think I'm kind of I like to follow my heart on those things. If it felt like a good conversation and the money was kind of more or less in the same ballpark that we could negotiate and get to an agreement, then
true.
Otherwise,
and then your direct clients, are they in Germany? Are they anywhere? Do you have a preference? Do you have, not a preference, but is there a statistical piece of information about that?
Oh yeah, the vast majority are in Germany. And then I have some in Austria and some in Switzerland. So it's all German-speaking areas. It's just the way it's worked out, really, but it's also to do with being here because it's easier to reach out to people. And I don't know, you come across people from my network, people, ex-colleagues or whoever. If you get recommended by somebody, it's just my life is based here, so it tends to be. But that suits me. I mean, it's nice. And
do you ever go there, or is it always more of a remote connection?
It's always remote. Some of them I haven't even spoken to on the phone.
So you don't work on site in their companies?
No, I've never done that. No, I could technically, but
that's what I did for a long time. So
yeah. Now one of my big clients, has just moved to Heidelberg to new premises. So they did say I could go and visit soon. So I think I might actually, because it's really just up the road. But that would just be to say hi and have a coffee or something.
Yeah, not to work there, but it's actually very interesting. I mean, I did that for good some years, right? And I really found it rewarding because you get to know the company so well and everybody who works there. But I do understand that in the majority of cases, I mean, why would you do that? Unless they're like top secret. Some of the projects I worked on were top secret. That's why I be there on site.
Well, if it came up, I don't think I would think about it if somebody suggested that, but it's never come up. And
yeah, I guess it's not an Europe. I've never heard of an European translator who goes to the company's premises. I've never heard of that. So
no.
Yeah, it's a California thing only.
Yeah. And when I first started,
they still do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why not?
I still get requests to go places, but I'm not going to go. Just that.
Well, when I first started freelancing, my kids were still fairly young anyway, so it would have been tricky to actually go somewhere else. It was very convenient to be at home. So that
I bet. Yeah. So you have always worked with, I guess, IT as your main subject, right? But what other things do you do? But I guess what I want to say is, because IT has so many applications, that I suppose you work in a wide variety of areas, right? It's just that you prefer the part that it's more related to UI and all of that thing, or how's that?
Yeah, it depends. It can be UI stuff. It can be documentation. I can enjoy that. And sometimes, especially if I get access to the back end as well, where I can really like check things and see how things are going to work, or if I have a test user, I can enjoy documentation. It's nice to have a variety.
Yeah. Is it like there's an area that apart from the IT, let's call it the big picture, and then like in a more of a micro scale, what is it? Is it, I saw that you do healthcare a lot, for example.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of healthcare IT recently, which is really interesting because it's about digitalizing the healthcare system, which in Germany is kind of getting there. It's a bit slow, but there's a lot of stuff going on with that, you know, and hopefully we're going to get our digital health cards and things. So yeah, that I've been doing that, and that's kind of similar to the business IT kind of things I was doing at SAP. It's just a more specific. So it's not actual medical translation. That's the difference. It's health, but it's software for the medical, you know, for the healthcare system. So that's nice. A lot of general digitalization. I have clients who are offering digitalization services to help other companies become digitalized. So I'll do websites for them or white papers about their products and that sort of thing.
That's my kind of thing too. To be honest.
I like it. It's nice.
I definitely love that type of content. Of course, my background is also full of that stuff, and that was always very good.
Yeah,
so I do understand. So, what is the typical day in the life of Jane Eggers? The professional life of Jane Eggers, because then you have a lot of other things that you like doing. I saw a carousel. I never say how, I never know how to say this word. Carousel, right? Post. And you mentioned two things. One is not very intriguing, I have to say, because you said you enjoy walks in nature. But the other one, however,
I think everyone does probably, but
right. So the other one is that you enjoy writing songs.
I do. I love that. I'm doing this. This is a bit funny, really, but I mean, I've been doing this songwriting challenge once a year for the last 10, 11 years, maybe.
Is it a challenge with yourself, or is it
it's
with other people?
It's a big online community. It's called FAWM, FAWM, which stands for February Album Writing Month. And so the idea is, in the month of February, you have to write 14 songs in 28 days, or 29 days if, you know, in the elite year.
February, depending on February.
Yeah. So the idea is to get your creativity going, because you have to just keep going. You can't think about, oh, I'm going to write a master, because you're not going to get finished, right? The goal is to just keep trying and maybe clear out some of the rubbishy stuff so that you can get to the really cool stuff that's underneath. And I really love it. People come from all over the world and log into this, to the platform. And some of them are really amazing musicians, and they'll do full demos and post them, and it's almost sounds professional, you know. And I tend to concentrate more on the lyrics because I like words. Of course. But I will sing it in because I think it's more interesting. If I have a melody that's kind of in my head, I'll probably do a very basic a cappella recording so people can hear it. And then we go in and comment on each other's songs, and it's just really, really supportive. It's just a lovely community, you know.
I love it.
It's just brilliant. You know, there's even this function called the zong function, and a zong is a song that has been posted but doesn't yet have any comments. So you can specifically search for somebody who's posted a song but hasn't had any comments yet, and you can support them. And I just think that's lovely. I think we always think that
with a Z or a Z because of the sleeping.
Maybe that's why. I don't know why.
In my mind, I'm like trying hard to figure out why it would be a zong.
It's got to fit a pattern, yeah. It might be because of that. I'll have to ask them. But I just think that that's kind of indicative of the supportive nature of it, that you can actually seek out people that, and everyone tries to say something positive. You know, we're not trying to really critique each other's stuff unless you specifically ask to be critiqued. But usually it's just saying, oh, this is great, well done, I love, you know, you can find something nice to say about it.
But and is there a subject every day, or is it just freestyle every day?
You can do whatever you like, but they do post a lot of prompts. There is a daily prompt just to get you thinking of something. And then there are a lot of...
I guess I lost you. There you go. Oh. I lost you for 1 second, but you're back.
Back. Okay. Like there's this one that I like called the Story Cube Challenge. So I don't know if you know the little cubes that it's a children's game, really. They're like dice, and they have different pictures on, and you roll.
Right.
I think there are 9 of them, and you roll them, and then using the different pictures, you can make a story with your children. It's really nice. And some people use that as a songwriting prompt. So you look at these pictures that you get, and then you try and use all of those words in a song. So that works really well for me, because it's it takes it away from trying to be creative and into a puzzle. So my brain then concentrates on the puzzle. Okay, I've got these words. I keep banging my microphone. Got these words. I have to put them into some kind of rhyming thing that sounds like a song. And then sometimes it kind of clicks through and does become creative, because your mind's a little bit focused to the side. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it does. Just because I know that from a transcreation point of view, right? Because I do have a song that is in the movie out there. Yeah, I was asked to do, it's an animation movie. I was asked to create 2 songs, well, to transcreate 2 songs, right, in Portuguese, and then one of them actually was the chosen one. The other one was not. But of course, I have no rights to those songs, of course, because you have to sell your rights to the company. But I actually love it, and because I'm a huge Madonna fan, I don't know if you can tell.
I can.
So my whole life, my brother and I have created, versions of Madonna songs in Portuguese. So I understand about the puzzle, because it's not like I'm creating something, but we're trying to get the content as much as we can and still make it into a plausible Portuguese song. So
right. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So I was very excited when I read that you were involved in such a thing. But then what happens to the songs?
Well, usually they just sit there. So I do post them throughout February on the platform, the challenge platform. And I get nice comments and good feedback, and I think, oh, that's lovely. And and then they go in a folder, and I always, every year, I think, okay, once February is finished, I'll polish those songs and I'll work on them, and then I just don't. And then the year goes by, and then, okay, it's February again, I'm going to write more songs.
Because you're quite busy with other things, and I'll go back to the original question, because I was the one who was asking the question, and all of a sudden thought about the songwriting activity and forgot all about everything, because I love it so much. I got so excited. So what's the typical day outside February? Because now we know that in February it's a little bit different.
Forgot about that question.
So what about the rest of, for example, March?
Well, that's different again.
You wake up in the morning and you go to your working station or area, and then what happens? Or you exercise first, or what do you do?
I don't exercise first. I have phases where
you walk first, let's say that, for example.
Yeah, no, I tend to go straight to, I get the kids out of the house, and then I'll get my coffee and my breakfast probably after that, and then slowly meander down to my office, and go on LinkedIn first of all and see what's happening and check my mails. And I tend to do that to ease into it, like my social media and kind of commenting on a few people's things. That's a really big part.
I'm the same. I get it.
Right. Yeah. The whole network thing, it feels like a nice way to start, but at some point I have to kind of be strict with myself and turn it off. Otherwise you could really just network all day. Quite easily, but that's not really the point. So so
you go through your emails after that, and then you do a bit of work. So do you do like a massive amount of hours each day, or you already figured out a way to make everything work in more of a harmonious way?
Yeah, it's more harmonious. I do maybe 6 hours a day in general, I guess. It depends. And a lot of the time I'm thinking about stuff and not necessarily sitting at my desk. Well, not a lot of the time, but there is that, it's always present anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, probably 6. It's not a full 40-hour week, which is great. And and then some of that is content creation, or I might write a blog post or something. So I think probably paid work, I probably do about 4 hours a day on average. But then it depends. There can be times when I just have to really power through the whole time to get something done. So
And you also need time for other things, because I've been watching a few videos that you have been doing. How about those?
Yeah. I've been working on that this year, and I joined a membership group called the Espresso Plus group, which I really love. It's a paid thing, but I get a lot of support from that, and they've encouraged us, or the man who runs it, John Esperian, has encouraged us
Oh yeah,
to
I've
do.
heard about him.
Right, okay, he's brilliant. His tagline is the relentlessly helpful LinkedIn nerd.
Oh.
And he really is relentlessly helpful. So anyway, he likes encouraging people to do videos, so I've become a bit braver with doing that, and I often try to do them a bit more client facing. Lately I've been doing them a little bit more towards fun stuff, like singing songs and things.
That's what I saw.
yeah, I thought you might have been referring to that. I don't know, I think it's important to do what's fun to you. I feel like I'm kind of growing with that and becoming braver. If I can share a ukulele song on LinkedIn, then I think that's kind of cool. It's something I probably wouldn't have dared to do a year ago. So it feels nice. But if you go back a bit, I've also got videos that are talking to my clients and telling them how I work, and you know, that kind of thing. So I have my videos where I do my like my two Janes, one English Jane and one German Jane with a different scarf on. And I don't know.
So you talk about language differences, right?
Sometimes I talk about language differences, or I talk about what do I talk about? I did one on my pricing, and I did one on different benefits that I have for the client, or my translation process, the steps that I go through. So yeah, there are different things. I have a list of ones that I can work on, some more topics, because I usually try to take 5 things that and then have that kind of format. So it doesn't get too much, because I think you don't want to have a really long video, and I can't talk for hours on it. And well, it probably doesn't seem that like that right now, because I am talking a lot. But yeah, I try and keep my videos quite short and concise, and I have my 5 points, and then yeah, hopefully some clients may see those as well. And
sure they have.
I hope so, yeah. Well, I think I mean, most of my network consists of translators on LinkedIn, I think, and but I do think if somebody recommends me to a client and then they come to LinkedIn to look and see what I'm doing, then they might come across them. They might not find me by chance on LinkedIn, but I think if they know about me and then they want to kind of see what I've been doing, then it could be helpful to have that content there.
Yeah, so. I totally agree. I think that, you know, you have to be the way you are.
Yeah.
And do exactly as you think you should, because I mean, what else are you going to do? Because you're yourself, and that is your greatest advantage. It's just to be yourself.
Oh yeah, totally. I can't do anything else. So, and it's just trying to be more of myself and not worry about it so much. And yeah, and I mean, I don't know, it's all a process, isn't it? And it's part of growing up.
Yes, well, thank you so much for giving us an overview of the world of Jane.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yes, I think I always say this, it's very important to me, and hopefully for the people out there, that we know what we do in the community as people who work in the language business, what we do, what interests us, how we have some fun with our job, how we can be creative and at the same time informative, and all of that. So that's really the goal of these conversations, and that's why I thought you were going to be a great guest to be on the podcast. And so thank you so much, Jane. And I'll be following your work videos, and maybe you will give me one of these days access to your songs.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
I'm now a bit curious.
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about that, and actually look at some songs, and maybe, who knows.
Yeah, it would be great to talk about it more offline. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. So thank you, and
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.